All right, the news this morning, Conan and NBC officially parting ways. And here with us now, Sharon Waxman. She's the founder and editor-in-chief of Wrap.com, a website on entertainment and media business. The site broke the news about Conan early this morning. Sharon, great to have you with us.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us what kind of severance package they kind of finally worked out after all this back and forth.
Well, Conan got a pretty good severance package of about $30 million.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And then everybody else altogether rolled up is about another 10. And then apparently they've been bickering. This has been like the endless negotiation, this thing playing out on nightly monologues on late night shows. But basically, apparently they couldn't agree on the final severance, and so Conan had to put his hand in his own pocket and is paying some of the severance to his own employees so that they can all part ways by tomorrow, because everybody agreed that tomorrow is the last show.
So tomorrow's the last show, and Jay starts March 1st after the Olympics.
Yeah.
So that means, I guess, a couple weeks of Conan reruns, which will be sort of awkward over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, awkward. I don't think they'll be playing this week's reruns.
No, I think they'll
probably not.
Dig a little deeper into the archive for these reruns.
It's just been amazing. Every night it's just gotten a little more vicious and a little more vicious. It's like, get this man off the air so he can stop insulting the network.
Exactly. That's what that big chunk of change was about. We've been covering this really closely. What's been happening behind the scenes? The relationship between Leno and Conan has been the subject of a lot of speculation. Is Jay pushing him out? Is Conan is this sour grapes? What's your take?
It's a really interesting dynamic there. Leno remains curiously unpopular in the late night comedian clique.
Yeah.
And so why? I ask that question. Why? He seems like a nice guy to me, and I don't know him. I think they look at him as somebody who presents this. I'm not subscribing to this, but I think this is how he's regarded, as somebody who kind of is so ambitious, so hardworking. Now, those are not bad qualities, but he's looked at as somebody who just maybe doesn't quite have a connection to real life. He just works all the time. He's sort of bound up in his cars and his work, and when he gets a day off, he does stand-up, down in Long Beach or something. And I don't know if I'm sure there's an element of professional jealousy there, but there's this feeling that he really ought to have stepped aside. I heard this a lot, like the Golden Globes over the weekend. There's a lot of talk at the parties about it, and I found that a little curious, like who steps aside? Like what president steps aside without term limits or something, Like nobody does that.
Are we sure that this isn't all just an episode of Entourage?
It'll be a great series. I actually was at the HBO party and I asked the executives, I was like, is there a new show coming? Because
what about the conditions? What conditions have they put on Conan once he leaves? I mean, there's the big severance package there, but doesn't he face limitations in terms of what he can do now?
Well, first of all, one really interesting point is there's a media blackout for a while. So the throwing stones is going to have to stop, which has been vastly entertaining for all of us, which is why Conan's ratings have gone up, because the show is just so interesting and traumatic, has a surge of energy that you couldn't actually invent. But organically, I guess, in the show. But he can work in September. He is free to go to work. California, by the way, has huge non-compete. He has huge blocks to non-competes. You basically cannot enforce that.
He can't. He has he can't go. He can't go
does not have
at the same time.
He can, starting in September, he is free to do what he wants.
And Sharon, what's the most likely place for him to land? We keep hearing Fox, but I understand that's a lot more complicated than people think.
I think, it's complicated till it isn't complicated. When a network wants somebody, they figure it out. You've got a really smart guy running things over there, Peter Rice, and I think he wants. My sense is he wants to make his stamp in late night, and this is an amazing opportunity for him to do that. And thumb his nose at NBC. And what's so amazing is that this is exactly the scenario that Jeff Zucker was trying to avoid 5 years ago by trying to set his pawns up, and it just all.
It is ironic. We're right back where we started a few years ago.
And really, you know what they say: early morning is the new late.
I was going to say my show's on at 2:30 in the morning out west. So
what about the
around after Carson Daly.
What about the host jealousy aspect, huh?
Yes. There's been a lot of sniping here.
There you go. Yeah. Well, it makes for ratings, so don't worry.
In the middle between you.
Exactly. It's going to work. Sharon, great job covering all this. Broke the story this morning on Wrap.com. Founder and editor-in-chief of Wrap.com. Thanks so much.